Hello everyone, Beks Thompson here from Be a Beacon on Bribey, and today it's a bit of a hot one, right? We're having a bit of a heat wave. If you're not on Bribey or you're not in Queensland, maybe you're not having a heat wave. I just got a photo actually from my parents in England, and they've had about 3 inches of snow overnight, so a little bit different there. And it kind of goes a little bit into what I want to talk about today, which is stories. Now, I've just had a yoga class that I taught this morning, and we put an intention around letting go of our stories. What are our stories? Now, there's a couple of ways that they can eventuate, right? And if you're just joining us, let me know we're live, and I know a lot of you will be at work and maybe catching this later today, but maybe some of you are on lunch or having a break or at home with the kids, and you can jump on now. So we'll say hi as you come on, and let me know you're there with a little thumbs up or a love heart, and I can see that you're with me. Awesome. Let's just adjust this slightly. So we're talking about stories today and the way that they show up in our life. Now, we have a couple of different types of stories, right? And one of them is the stories of our life. The stories of our life. So the things that we hold on to, maybe it's that you're someone who has a bad back. Yeah, you're someone who is a cancer survivor, or you're someone who was, a widow, or someone who is a hard worker, or someone that's a bit of a slacker, or someone who's just always too loud. Yeah, you have this idea of yourself because it's been told to you, or things have happened to you that over time have reinforced these beliefs about yourself, and then you start to just perceive them and create them as true, right? And when we do that, we are keeping stuck in those stories, and so we are always going to be that if that is what we are presenting to the world, right? Because who we are right now is what we believe about ourselves. And what we believe about ourselves from the past. So if you stay stuck in, I have a bad back, or I'm just someone who has those allergies, or I'm just someone who is emotional and gets upset all the time, or I'm just someone who is angry, or I'm just someone who, these things about ourselves that we start to believe, then we are limiting ourselves. So we have to accept that that may be true, and this is shadow work. Accept that some of these things about us may be true, as well as seeing the positives of those. But we need to, at some point, let go of that story if we want to become something different, if we want to be the person who no longer has back pain, who no longer, is alone. And I was, for a while, that person who had excruciating pain and headaches for 2.5 years. Yeah, I was that person, but I had to find that balance between pushing against that, resisting it, which creates more of the same because you can't resist what is. I had to accept it, that that's what was in that moment, but at the same time hold the potential for that's not me in the future. So that's one way that we hold on to stories. So have a sense of what stories do you hold on to? How do you define yourself to other people? Sometimes it's like, well, who are you? What do you do when you have those interactions with people? How do you describe yourself? And what things do you catch yourself saying? Yeah, because people say it in the clinic to me all the time, and I catch myself out saying things that define you, that put you in a box, create a story around you, and they stop you from getting out of that. What things do you have? And now or later in the comment section below, if you're watching this later, pop down for me. There's some things that you define yourself by, your beliefs, that keep you small. So that's one way that stories get into these grooves and these whirlpools and these cycles, right? The other way that stories come in is constantly. We are constantly creating a story about anything that is happening right now, anything that happened yesterday. We create a story around the why and the wherefore of everything that happens. So something good happens to you. Oh, it's because I did this and this and this and this amazing thing happened and I deserve this and this. And we create this story around what we've done to create it. But then what if something doesn't go well? We create another story. Oh, maybe this and this wasn't aligned. And especially in the spiritual world, it's like, oh yeah, you know, there wasn't alignment of the energies, or you guilt yourself and it was what didn't I do? Yeah, Georgie, so very true. What didn't I do to create that? I must have done something wrong. Or, you know, all these stories that we put on ourselves. Do we need that? It's just more mental load on top of the mental load that we already have, and can lead us into this guilt, blame, shame, and take us out of a sense of really what is. And all that is what is. Yeah? And so I invite you, what if you didn't have to get caught up in that story? What if you didn't have to define yourself by your perceived limitations of the past? What if you didn't have to get into a story about why you had that car crash, or why you dropped that phone, or why that event didn't come off, or why that person didn't call you, or why you did bump into that person the other day? What if there was no story? Just take a moment. Oh, what if there was no story? Is that a relief? Is that like a breath in and a breath out? What if you didn't have to hold on to a story? What if you went all day without having to create a story, put any more mental load in? Now this is a challenge, and I invite you to take up this challenge, because every moment we're creating little stories in our mind, and it keeps us in our mind and keeps us out of our body of feeling just what is in the moment. And I'll give you an example. We're looking at a house, yeah, we're looking to buy a house, and we don't really desperately want to sell, but we're really feeling this urge to move. And if we find the right house, we will. And we thought we found the right house. Felt good. We both felt connected to it. We moved forward on it, put an offer in, then we put up this house on the market. And today I found out that house has fallen through. They've taken another offer, which was better than our offer. And so that's no longer in the game. We're no longer in the game. And how easy is it to get into a story? How easy would it have been for me to get into the story of, oh, I didn't manifest that enough, I didn't hold enough potential positive energy, you know, I've done, you know, what did I do wrong for that? But instead I just stayed with what was and what is right now, and I could feel the little deflation in my energy as I was talking to the real estate agent. I was like, okay, yeah, I can feel that, but actually that's not very deep. That's just a very superficial little drop. And as I was talking to her about, you know, other possibilities in keeping our house on the market and just seeing what came up, I started to feel a real expansion and a real bubbling up of joy and excitement around other possibilities, because what it's done, that house has just put us into this sell ready state. We've done some bits around the house, we've really got our finances organized, and now we're good to go for when maybe something better comes in, or not. Maybe we've just done up these bits of the house and we're happy here. Who knows? But what was in that moment was an allowing of the feeling that was coming in, and a recognition of the feeling, and then noticing how that feeling shifted and changed actually into something completely different, into a little bit of excitement. And now that's what is, and that's no longer relevant. Yeah, because that's now the past. And this is what is. And this is what is. And this is what is. Yeah? And it's such a beautiful way to live, because we don't get caught up. And I wouldn't get caught up in the story over why and how and whatever. It's just, well, how do you feel right now? How do you feel right now? What is right now? And in that way, we can stay in more joy. We can stay in more ease. We can stay in more peace, more freedom from these push and pulls of the past and the future, and just be in acceptance of what is now. And we can still hold a vision for the future, a vision of openness, expansion, of potential and possibilities. And we just allow that to unfold. Yeah? So I invite you to notice what your old stories are. What your old stories are, how you limit yourself, or your beliefs, what you say about yourself. Listen to your language when you're talking about yourself. and talking about things and likes and dislikes and who you are, how you're defining that and limiting yourself. And then also be aware of the stories that you're creating around different situations. And it's little self-judgments or criticisms or blames, or notice those stories and see if you can let go and just go, well, what is? Let's just go with what is. Yeah? So I'd love to hear your feedback. Georgie's put so very true. Yes, it is so very true. So play with this. See where it takes you. See what you notice. And I would love to hear from you. And if you would like some amazing tools to get out of your head and into this body of feeling in a way that allows you to feel without getting swamped by your emotion, without getting swamped by feeling, without getting stuck into your stories that really limit you, then I invite you to come along to my current resource is a training coming up in just about 10 days or so in Brisbane, and it's a whole day of training with me around this kind of work. It's called The Art of Feminine Presence. It's a part of the work I do, and it's specifically for women who want to be seen and heard in the way that they want and need to wake up in some ways to the things that are limiting them, their own beliefs, their own sense of self-worth that is really holding them back, and uncovering those blind spots and showing you tangible ways, embodied practical spirituality tools where you can be seen and heard the way you want. You can erase the past if you like, or take the good stuff from there so that you can really expand into your future with more joy, more ease, and more inspiration, and also help others in the way that you want to, but that doesn't compromise your health and well-being. So if that is something that you're interested in, then I invite you to jump on, because the early bird ends tomorrow. So I will put the link on, and you get to bring a friend for free. So it doesn't get any better than that. Check out the link that I'm going to put on above this post, and we'll see you again next week or tomorrow. I think I'm on again tomorrow. All right, my lovelies, have a great day. Get out of those stories. Love you guys. Bye.